Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with one of my favorite hops, Simple Stories Saturday, where we use Simple Stories collections and products and create layouts. I have decided to combine this Simple Stories Saturday with a series that I started back in July called Courageously Crafting, Scrapbooking Through the Hard Stuff. And it is a series that like I said, started in July because there was a lot of things that happened in my life back to back, like in a 6-week period. And it was just laid on my heart to document those hard times and then to talk about it and to discuss like openly, the time, what I had gone through, but also the importance of documenting the hard things. So I decided at the end of July, when I was done with my 5-week series, that I would continue doing it once a month because there were so many people who had commented that it had encouraged them to start thinking about documenting things in their own lives that were hard. And so that made me feel really good. And I did have a lot of other things that I needed to document that were not easy. So I did one in August, September, and then the month of October was 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. And I scrapbooked pretty much 2018, that whole month for the sketches. And 2018 in itself was a hard time. It was a really rough year for my family. And so I didn't do one that month because pretty much the whole month could have been hard times. Lots of loss and sadness. So I didn't do one then. I did another one in November, but then I waited and didn't do one in December because, well, December is a time for joy and I just didn't feel like bringing that in. But I wanted to do one in January, so I decided to combine it, like I said, with my Simple Stories Saturday. And here's the picture that I'm going to be documenting. This is my grandma, and documenting her isn't necessarily always hard. Sometimes it is, depends on where I am emotionally already. I lost her in 2020. This is 2017. The reason that this is hard is because this picture specifically was taken shortly after she moved to Texas from Kentucky, where she'd been since 1960, and which is where I am. And so she had to leave due to she rented her home. Her and my grandpa had rented a home, and the people who they had rented it for like almost 30 years had to sell it. And she was 92 at the time, a little too old, and physically needed a little bit more assistance. So we knew it wasn't the best option for her to be by herself. And so at the time, my father was unable to take care of her because he was having a lot of medical problems. And so she ended up moving in with her daughter, who lived in Texas, which was wonderful for them. And I'm grateful for the time that she had with them. And I don't ever, won't ever go against that because it was really special. And in the end, it was just the best thing for her. But this was her after she got to Texas, telling us that she had made it there safely. My cousin flew here from Texas and flew back with her. And I've already documented the picture of her on the plane. But this is her, resting easy in Texas in the little pretty tree and stuff. So anyway, this was the 20th. She had left on the 10th. So that is the picture I'm going to document. And every month in 2017, I am using The Good Stuff collection by Simple Stories to document a title page of the month. I've never done that before. I've just decided to with this collection because it's so fun, and there's one for every month. And I ordered 2 of these. This is the same thing. So that I could have a background page and then use the cut aparts. And then of course I have all the stash. Like I ordered all the stash from Peacecraft Love and then ordered the papers all over again. So that's what I'm doing. I've done October, I've done January, so I'm going to do June right now. And then you may see some of the other ones in the future, or I may get a crazy hair up my patootie and document the rest of them because they're all in my bin. I don't want to move it too much. They're already in my bin and they're all organized. So I have the papers for each month and the pictures I'm documenting. And then some of the embellishments and everything that I want to use already set up and ready. So these are the ones that I haven't pulled out. That's why it looks like there's so many used, because I've got them on little sheets like this. So these are the ones that I've pulled out that I want to use on this layout specifically. But then I still have tons in here and some puffies. And then I have quite a few of these still because I wasn't sure what exactly I was going to do. I usually kind of wing it, y'all. And then I have a few left on here, but I did pull all the word phrases and little things from here and put those on different months. So I'm going to set these aside and sit down and get started with this. I'll probably bring in some solid black cardstock for matting. And then I'm not real sure. I do have some scraps and stuff that can go with this collection that I may end up pulling in, but I don't know. So now I'm going to put this part on fast forward and then I'll voice over the rest, which is something I normally don't do. So I usually voice over the whole darn thing. So anywho, so here we go. And I've got my papers, my embellishments, my picture. So let's see how this goes. All right, so the first thing I did was cut apart the cut-aparts. And I don't cut them all down just because I may use the ones that I don't use on this layout. I may need them for that background paper on another layout. So if they can stay intact, then I will keep them all in the biggest piece that I can. But if not, like if I want like every other one or something. So I am going to use all of these, and my goal is to try and use as many from each month as possible. So this one that says be bold, it kind of fits the picture, but not really. I mean, my grandma was definitely bold. But I decided to use it for matting this little phrase, which I absolutely love about if you keep your face to the sun, the shadows will always be behind you or something like that. And I felt like that was pretty appropriate because while she loves her daughter and everything, she had been in Kentucky, like I said before, since 1960. And this is where her whole life was. Like, this is where all her memories with my grandpa were. The home that she was living in was where, you know, she spent the last almost 30 years of her marriage with my grandpa before he passed. So, I mean, it was hard for her to go, even though, you know, she gets along really well with her daughter. And but anyway, so it was kind of a bittersweet. Getting to have that time with my aunt was definitely a good thing, as well as my cousin, and my cousin has a kiddo, so that was always good. So what I'm doing on my layout is I took one of the cut aparts. It's that one that has like the rays. And so I cut the sunshine out of the other cut apart and put it in there to where those rays just extend from the sunshine, which I love the way that looks. I am going to matte that here. And there you can tell that it's been matted in black. And I do a thin cut just so it'll stand out against that background paper. So now I am just going to start embellishing with every single embellishment that I pulled, plus some. And I really decorate this with a ton of words, all those word phrases, and then some more that I bring in. That's what this collection really is. And the sad thing is, I completely forgot until literally when I was editing this. I have an entire little photo case with enamel dots and ephemera that goes with this collection. I had set it aside and forgot that I had it, and yeah. So I may go back and add some enamel dots or something, but I don't know. If something like absolutely calls me, but you'll see when I'm done that there's not a whole lot of space for much anything. I pretty much, you know, cover a lot of the area. So the series that I started back in July about documenting the hard stuff was really important to me, and so I figured I would continue on trying to do one a month. And so this picture of my grandmother makes me happy because I know she was happy. And, you know, hindsight 2020, it was a wonderful experience. And for her to have time with my aunt before she unexpectedly died 10 months after my grandmother moved there was a godsend, because that just gave them that extra time together that they wouldn't have had. So being able to look back now, I'm grateful. But when my grandmother told me, and I thought she was kidding, that she was thinking about moving to Texas, when she first told me she had to move, that was not even something I had thought or considered. Maybe it was my subconscious saying, nope, you can't even, because that was just not something I could have even gathered in my mind. And I just sat, I remember exactly where I was, and I just sat back on my couch and tried to keep it together. And then after I talked to my grandmother and she told me that, I called my mom to see if maybe grandma lost her marbles. And when my mom said that that was looking like the solution, I lost it, because my grandmother and I are very close. We were close before she moved. My family all together is very close, but my grandma and I had this really strong connection, and it only got stronger after she left. Although it was hard for me to call her, which I felt so guilty about, because I'd cry when I'd get on the phone with her, and I didn't want to make her feel bad, because it's not like it was her fault. Like I said, she was 92, and honestly, when she moved, I thought I'd never see her again, because she was 92 and not well. But my aunt took very, very, very good care of her. Not that I didn't think she would. And got her off most of her medications, took her and got cataract surgery. I mean, like all sorts of things. And so she really was living it up while she was in Texas with my aunt and uncle. So I'm grateful for that. So this is a Heidi Swap stamp, date stamp. So I tested out next to me off camera to make sure that it's spun the right way, because sometimes like the numbers will get turned sideways. And so after I get that done, I feel like there's something missing up here at the top. And if y'all have been watching me much, you know that I don't like a whole lot of empty space. I have a friend who creates some of the most amazing layouts, and she loves the white space, and she makes some I look at her layouts and I think, oh my gosh, I'd love to scrap lift that. And then I think I could never leave all that white space, but I love her layouts so much, and they're so gorgeous. And one of these days I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a piece of paper, a piece of white cardstock, and scrapbook layout that my friend Jill has done, and I'm gonna leave some empty spaces but not on this layout, guys. So anyway, here are the close-ups. I really do love the way this turned out. So much brightness and sunshine, just like my grandma. And so I would love for you all to go check out all of the other creators who are scrapbooking on the hop for Simple Stories Saturday. And if you are interested in the Courageously Crafting Scrapbooking Through the Hard Stuff series, it is on my YouTube channel. I believe there's a playlist for it, so I would love for you to check that out and give me some feedback and let me know if there's anything you all are looking to see in the near future. So I hope you all have a fabulous day. I hope you will document the hard times, and happy scrapping.